morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whatever part of the world or for whatever time you're watching this. Thank you for coming back and seeing and checking another episode of the Totally Cool YouTube channel. We have another Transformers figure to review today. This time it's another flyer, but it's an Autobot. On today's episode, we will be reviewing a Combiner Wars release of another flyer. Our last review was on Thundercracker, who was a Decepticon. That was from the Siege War for Cybertron line. This time we will be reviewing an Autobot flyer. For those of you who started Transformers on the Generation 1, we were pretty much stable in the thinking that if you're an Autobot, you're an automobile, hence Autobot. And you're a Decepticon, you basically could fly, or you turn into a small gun like Megatron. But most of them flew. In the air, Decepticons. On the ground with wheels, Autobots. I think it was in Season 2 or Season 3, I'm not sure which one. The Decepticons decided to take the battle to the Autobots on the ground. And that was when Megatron went to Cybertron to build or form the Stunticons. That's for another episode. To counter that, the Autobots went back to Cybertron also, and as a last resort, they formed or they built the Aerialbots. Silverbolt is the leader of the Aerialbots. You have Skydive, Firefly, either Quick Slinger or Alpha Bravo for this line, and I think there's another one, Air Raid. So Silverbolt is the head and torso of the Combiner Gestalt Autobot, the first one we've seen for the Autobots, Superion. We will do another episode on that. Okay, so let's open him up. Now, most of you would say, oh, Combiner Wars was not really Generation 1. That's correct, because Combiner Wars came after Generation 1 and after a few other iterations of the Transformers universe. But Silverbolt has been a fixture of Generation 1 inspired figures. And this one, I think, I've seen the others. This one, I think, aside from the Unite Warriors release, which is pretty much the same, is a very close to accurate representation of the Generation 1 Silverbolt. So in the box comes his action figure, and there's supposed to be a foot here. Okay, let's make him stand. Comes with a blaster. Put that there. And it comes with a card, a manual and a card. Now the card is Silverbolt. To give you a brief background on who Silverbolt is, like I said, he is the leader of the Aerialbots. The Aerialbots was Autobots' response to the Stunticons created by the Decepticons, who wanted to discredit the Autobots from Earth's population. So Megatron decided to use cars to deceive the people of Earth that the Autobots has gone bad. They had gone bad by just really demolishing everything in sight. And when they were in Cybertron, they had to attack or defend themselves from the attack of the Decepticons, and they created the Aerialbots out of shuttles. Silverbolt is ironically afraid of heights. For a flyer, that's weird. So this toy line came out in 2015. It's pretty solid in terms of articulation. There are a lot of hinges that you can see, and he really moves pretty well. Like the arms move from side to side. The hips give him a capability to do a split. I don't know why it would do that, but it also rotates on. It allows you to move the legs and move them around. There's no hip joint, or there's no hip hinge, so everything from the torso to the hip is stuck. It's basically just like that. So you can move the arms. There's an elbow joint, I believe. There you go. And there's a knee joint as well, and an ankle joint on the side. So yeah, you can articulate the foot and pose him pretty well. Now let's get down to the blaster. Now the blaster is a little bit oversized. It's almost as tall as he is. Okay. The blaster is a two-part weapon. Let me put his foot out and make him stand. Okay. Now there is also a little bit of a movement on the neck, so he can twist it around a little bit if you want to give him an expression when you're posing him. The blaster is big because, like I said, this guy together with 4 other guys form into Superion. The blaster can be split into 2. This one acts as an itty bitty shield, and the other is a gun. So Superion in robot form can hold the blaster in one hand, just so, while at the same time using it as a shield, just like that. Just like that. Alright, so he's very posable. Not as posable as, say, the Thundercracker or the other Siege War for Cybertron toys, but better than the G1. I don't have the G1 now to compare, but it's pretty much the same. They're so much better than the Generation 1 that just pretty much moves like a frozen out robot. Now, Silverbolt is modeled after the supersonic liner, the Concorde. For those of you old enough to remember that, you probably have to schedule your next colonoscopy. For those of you who are young enough not to remember that, then there's Google, so you can check that. Okay, so here is Silverbolt out of his box. But before we get to him, let's look at this first. It's got some nice box art. It's not the same or as intricate as the War for Cybertron figures, but it says here, it shows a face, close-up look of Silverbolt. On the side it says 3 out of 5 of Superion. So that only means that there are 4 others you need to collect. I think there's an alternate appendage, or either arm or leg. But he's a 3rd out of the 5 items to collect, figures to collect. He forms the head and the torso of Superion. Okay. And I don't know where his actual head is, but it's got to be somewhere here. It says here that in 15 moves, you can transform him from his robot mode to his alternate mode, which is Concorde-like supersonic plane. He is about 7.25 or 7.25 inch tall, around 18.5 centimeters, approximately that. He's not very big, but he's a Voyager class action figure, as it says somewhere on this box. It's got to say that. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But he is a Voyager class. Pretty much all of the leaders of the Combiner Wars series or toy line they're pretty much Voyager class. Like this one, like Hunger, he's Terracon. It's the power of the primes. So the power of the primes and the Combiner Wars are pretty much the same. So pretty much the same line. So the height is about 7, like I said, 7.25 inch tall, and or 18.5 centimeters. I don't know if my math is correct, but it doesn't matter. So anyway, that's him, and let's move on later. Let me show you his alternate mode. See you in a bit. So there you have it. He is now in his alternate mode, in his vehicle mode, and like I told you, he looks like a supersonic liner, passenger liner, the Concorde, which was in service, I believe, in... Let me put that in the link below, or let me put that in the comments, or let me put that somewhere, but it's somewhere. Although the Concorde is no longer in active service, I think there were 2 used by British Airways and another one. He's like a Concorde in the sense that you can even see it down to the bendable nose. Now they say that the Concorde's nose is bent during takeoff and landing to, I believe, create more drag. I don't know the science behind it, but I'll put that somewhere. And then when it's in flight, it moves to the straight position. So that's him in vehicle mode. Now, let's go back to the blaster. Now, if we go to the blaster, it was separated into 2 parts earlier, a shield and a gun. You can put that together one more time, and it can either be placed underneath one of the wings, like this, or better yet, you can put that underneath the fuselage of Silverbolt, and it's right on the nose. Now imagine a big airplane like this with a big gun right in front of it coming at you in supersonic speed, and you would definitely run for your life. You would hide, duck, and just wait it out. There are 4 other Aerialbots, 5 if we follow the Combiner Wars series or the Combiner Wars line, which we will feature in the next episodes. And on the 5th episode of the Combiner Wars review, we will see Superion. So for now, stay tuned for our next episodes on the Combiner Wars Aerialbots. Don't forget to click on like and subscribe. Hit the bell button so you would get notifications on our next videos. And let me put this big guy here. Oh, by the way, if you remove the gun, that nifty thing that I just saw when I was transforming him, put that aside. It even has a landing gear. Now the other landing gears are built onto his legs, and he can be placed like this. Like I said, he's great for other stuff too. It's not just about the transforming. You can put them in various poses, take pictures of them, put a diorama. Some even do stop motion movies. And for those of you who have time for that, then that would be a great thing. Now, if I would have to rate this figure, I would say overall it's a 9 out of 10. It's just that it doesn't have the hip movement or doesn't have the waist movement, but everything else is pretty much above par. So, as I mentioned earlier, we will review the other Aerialbots in the next few episodes, and we will form them together in the big, massive Gestalt Combiner, the #1 primo badass of the Autobot army, Superion. We will also do a comparison with Superion when we have the Unite Warriors out of its box. So that being said, I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. And don't forget, it's just, they're not just toys, they're collectibles. And you keep them and they also keep you happy. So that being said, Thank you for watching, and happy hunting. Bye-bye.